To the faithful retrospective viewer, if you're watching this simply because it shares the title of Higurashi the Anime Retrospective, then this is a heavy spoiler warning. I am more than aware that there are individuals who have watched this retrospective series without seeing, playing, or reading Higurashi in any of its respective narratives. Allow me to clearly state, this video is not for you. Myself and my co-host will be going into detail regarding not only Higurashi Gou, the 5th season of the anime, but will also be touching and referencing points from across the previous seasons. I would highly recommend only listening to this if you are up to date with everything to do with the franchise. You have been warned. With that out of the way, please enjoy this podcast review, where I probably get some plot details wrong. Well, me. So around 2014, 2015 time, I was at university. And one day, I found myself in a local comic book shop. And when I was there, I was looking at the comic book section itself, when I just so happened to bump into fellow YouTuber, the Gaming Brit. We got to chatting for a little bit, and he told me something that has stuck with me ever since, honestly. What he said was he preferred manga to comic books, because comic books have been around for a very long time, and they're still around. They're still going. They're gonna keep going for years to come when we're all gone. Manga, on the other hand, it has a beginning, but it also has an end. And there is an air of truth to that. I mean, at the time of this recording, it's rumoured/announced that the My Hero Academia manga is supposedly entering its final arc. Even something like One Piece, which has been around for 20 plus years now, is heading into its final arc as well. You can even look at some original Japanese media, like the Super Sentai series. While that's been going for nearly 40 years now, good lord. Each series is a new team, a new cast, a new story. Japan knows when to end its story. Or so you'd think if you didn't take a look at the likes of Dragon Ball, which has been around since the 1980s and is still going nowadays. Not in anime, but they still have the Dragon Ball Super manga. Even franchises like Pokemon, which I think is celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. Even Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is now on its 7th anime. Digimon Tri came back, and I think there's even a series currently airing at the moment. Even something like Card Captors came back relatively recently with the Clear Card arc. And in 2020, another series was able to drag itself back out of its shallow grave to terrify us all once more. Welcome, my friends, to Higurashi, the Anime Retrospective, the podcast review of Series 5, Go! And that's the introduction. Done.
Music here.
Hello and welcome to Crewe on the Sofa, but you already knew that. I, as always, am Michael Crewe. I think I've said my own catchphrase in the wrong weird way.
How did you mess that up?
I don't know! Joining me today for this podcast review thing, which really should have a proper name, but I'm calling it that, is a very good friend of mine. I've known him for a very long time now. People will know him as our resident referee and Yu-Gi-Oh! Know-it-all person It's the one, the only, the Bearded Kuriboh. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing very well. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
This is weird.
As people have requested, we will be covering our initial first thoughts. I've hit the mic. Our initial first thoughts, our opinions on the most recent series, Higurashi Gou. So yeah, let's get. I think it might be worth going over our history with the franchise. Just to be clear, I mean, yours kind of intertwines with stuff I've done.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, so I might as well start. If you are a purveyor of this channel, people will be aware of the Higurashi Retrospective, a series I've now been working on for. Well, it'll be the 5th installment this year, but I don't think it's 5 years. First time I watched it would have been the back end of 2012, I want to say. I absolutely loved it and adored it, and I ended up buying the series on DVD. I got the manga. Haven't played the visual novels because they're not games. There's already a controversial thing that people will shout at me in the comments for.
For watching the DVDs, yeah, totally.
Yes, for watching DVDs. How dare he watch DVDs?
Dude, they're on Blu-ray now. You need to watch the Blu-rays. High quality.
At this point, if I am going to cover series 2 and 3 and beyond, I might as well save proper viewing experiences for those until I'm actually covering them.
That is very true. I do love the fact that you were so excited that you found them on Blu-ray. Never watched them.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't argue with that. So yeah.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Yeah, that's my connection to it. What about you? How did you find out about it?
So as Michael had previously said, it kind of ties in with what he has been doing with his retrospective series. I watched the first episode he did. Really found it quite cool, interesting. I watched it. I'm now hooked. And I blame Michael for all of this.
Well,
the things I've had to see.
Yeah, you're welcome. How many people have I scarred by introducing them? Oh dear, that's something I never really thought about.
There's been a nice little show about people playing games and stuff like that, and then got knives and heads.
Yeah, yeah.
You monster.
Well, one thing that can be talked about is the fact that you've actually written a script and your own story mildly based off of or inspired by Higurashi, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Yes. Like, I love good murder mystery, and obviously this is kind of like a murder mystery turned up to 11.
Yeah.
And don't know how much I want to say, you know?
Well, we would like to work on it as soon as we can meet in person.
Oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
That would be wonderful. But I think it's safe to say we shouldn't call ourselves experts.
No.
In the franchise, I know a fair bit. You know less.
A bit.
You still don't know which one's Mion and which one's Shion. That's for sure.
No, I still. There's like season 4, isn't it? I haven't watched season 4.
Yeah, I need to send you season 4. I've already warned you about the first episode.
Yes.
Yeah. I will say though, the final episode, episode 4, is one of my favorite episodes in the whole franchise. It is the best ending, which is why when Go was announced and they said it was a reboot, I was kind of all for it because the ending of Kira is the perfect ending in my opinion. So, knowing what we know now, that it's a continuation, and there's no argument to be had about it, this is a continuation. Knowing that ending is now sort of null and void, yeah, you're already testing my my opinion about Go with that decision.
Well, how about the first 3 arcs we do is just like basically a redo over with slightly different scenes? Would that entice you?
No. Okay, maybe instead of beating about the bush, why don't we get down and dirty with this proper? Let's say right off the bat, spoilers. Should be obvious. Spoilers for not only Go, but for the entirety of Higurashi. There are characters and situations that we need to talk about that I haven't that I haven't covered yet in the retrospective. So if you are a regular Higurashi retrospective viewer who hasn't watched the show, this video is not for you. Let's start with something very broad that covers the entire series. The animation and character designs and the coloring is great.
Looking at the previous seasons and this season, the jump is just amazing, really.
One thing you've got to bear in mind is obviously this is a new studio. The first, I want to say the first 4 series were made by Studio Dean, and then this one has been made by Studio Passion. Everyone looks great. Everyone looks fresh. Everyone looks younger. Like one of the first things I thought when I saw the trailer was that these kids now look like kids to me. Maybe that's just because I'm older now, because I was about 18, 19 when I first started, so they were kind of my age. And now being able to look at them as children is nice and different and a good thing. Yes?
Yes, maybe.
Yes? Is that worded right? Who knows?
Something I would like to add is focusing on the colouring. It's just how it just really enhances the scene. Like, especially near the later end, the colours they use, especially, just reflect the characters, if you know what I mean. It's like, it just creates this mood, and you kind of get sucked into it. And I think that's just a fantastic, it's a fantastic tool in your belt, and if you use it correctly, it just works so well.
It can look happy and joyful and colourful when it wants to, but it can also do the dark and the gritty and, like you said, like really get your heart going. The music as well, I just want to say, so they got the original composer back from the first 4 series, which is why a lot of the original tracks have been used again, but even some of the newer tracks still feel part of it, which of course it does, because it's the same guy who does the music. And I've sung praises about the anime OST for years now. So I'm really glad that they brought the composer back. I wish I knew his name. Speaking of music, we have yet another absolutely cracking opening title sequence. With, I think it's literally called I Believe in What You Said, which is great. I love long, complicated titles.
Symbolism.
No, I think it's a really great theme. Even the ending themes, which is God Syndrome for the first half, and then Irregular Entropy for the last couple of episodes. All 3 of them are absolutely amazing pieces of music. I've listened to them in my spare time.
Not for me, like the opening theme, it was one of those songs that took a while to grow on me, if you know what I mean. It's like,
really?
Yeah, I'll be honest, to begin with it, I was so meh to it all.
Oh.
Then near the end of the season, especially like the second half of the song where you see Rika running through the forest and it starts building up.
Oh, that one.
Like, even if I wasn't liking the episode, that just got me psyched up, you know what I mean? Like, just really built up the energy and excitement, so...
It feels like the perfect balance between the original theme and Flower from Hell.
You know, that's actually a really good way of summing it up.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of visuals that are quite similar to the first 2 themes as well, which I suppose is what they were kind of going for.
Yeah.
So, I like every single Higurashi opening, even Happy Doki Lucky from season 4.
Yeah.
because I'm a weird fan.
That's one way of summing you up. I am a weird
I
fan.
fully admit, I feel like I have a lot of weird opinions for Higurashi. And I guess that's why people enjoy the retrospectives, because it's a different take. Maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Why do you guys like this?
Why do you like me? What's wrong with you guys?
You?
Jesus! But enough beating around the bush. Let's talk about the show.
Yeah!
So we've both got a series of notes, I believe.
Yes.
So I didn't actually take a lot of notes, because let me state, I obviously watched the series as it was coming out. I've then rewatched it in preparation for this. I neglected to make a lot of notes at the time for the first arc, but I've put down some very rough ideas.
Dude, I did the same thing.
Afterward, I've got about 8 pages of notes for the rest of the series. So I've watched the sub, but for my rewatch, I actually watched the first 12, 13 episodes of the dub, because it's me, and I'm a filthy dubber. So I want to say right off the bat, I like the English cast.
Likewise.
I think they're good voices. Do I prefer them to the original? It's hard to say, because I obviously have nostalgia for the original cast. When I read the manga, I actually hear original Mion's voice when I'm reading it. Although I did find some inflections that the new Mion has that were very sort of similar. Rika sounds very similar as well, in my opinion. Keiichi's probably the biggest departure from his original dub voice.
So I think Ren also sounds very similar to her original voice. Because I think I also watched the first half in the dub. I think the only note I had is like Mion and Shion. They sound like a mum. You just like your mum wants to play a game with your kids, and they're just getting a bit too old for it.
I think definitely for Shion, because that's meant to be her character, where she's more mature in that. But Mion, no, I still got the tomboy. Well, hey, I'm a kid kind of thing, you know.
Like I said, I wouldn't say it was bad, but it was just like some moments of like, I can tell you're an adult doing a kid's voice.
Yeah.
But like I say, it was nothing like bad or took me out of the show. It was just those odd little moments. But overall, I agree with you. The cast sounds really good. Yeah. I'll probably carry on watching the show with the dub just to see how it goes.
Oh yeah, like even after this, I'm going to continue watching how they do the dub just out of curiosity. I feel like I can't comment on the Japanese cast because when I'm like it's the same cast from the original and from the games, and that they are clear, like they know these characters inside and out. There is no question about that. But the problem I have is that obviously a language barrier, so I can't exactly comment on whether it's a good performance or not. I can clearly tell that there's a lot of emotion behind what they're saying, and they're clearly getting into it. But since I'm listening to them say the lines and then also reading the subtitles and then hearing a voice in my head read those subtitles, there's just a lot of what's the word? Stimulus coming in. There's a lot there's a lot of different things that I'm trying to keep a track of at the same time, which is why I've struggled with subs in the past. But let me just be completely clear. I still enjoyed my experience, and I still got the gist of the story, even if I had to like rewind a couple of times to reread the subs. You know, the first episode is very nice. It does feel like a straight up reboot, for better or worse.
In many ways, it feels like, are you going to, like, say you go away for university, live somewhere else, and you go back to your hometown for the first time, like, oh, it's quite nice being here.
Yeah.
But nothing really has changed that much.
It did feel like there was more character interactions and basic character setup.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the simple fact that we saw Satoko setting up traps and stuff was not a first for me, because I obviously knew that she was a trap master, but if I remember correctly from the original first series, it's hardly ever mentioned. I mean that's the problem with adaptation to begin with, and as well as considering the fact that the visual novels like to waffle on a lot, and that's putting it nicely and kindly, in all honesty. So obviously they removed anything that they deemed unnecessary, and one of those things just happened to be Sotoko and her traps.
I'll be honest, I really do love the involvement of the traps. It just gives Psycho a lot more personality than, like, obviously she did have quite a bit of personality in the original season, but it's just like, give it a wider berth and kind of makes it more separate from the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
And obviously that will come back later in the season.
I'll tell you what, that scene in the first episode where Rika sucker punches Sadako with the box, I could play that on loop for hours.
Oh, it was so satisfying.
It really is. I think it's safe to say that we're both not fans of Sotoko.
Yeah.
So the latter half of this series is going to be interesting. What notes have you got for the first arc then? Because mine are all over the place, honestly.
In general, it's just basically, it's all nice and stuff, but it doesn't get me excited.
I think you actually summed it up quite nicely when we were talking about this friggin' months ago. It's like they wanted to make a cake and eat it too.
Yeah.
You know, like they wanted they wanted to bring in a new audience, hence calling it a reboot. But they also didn't want to lose the existing audience. But even then, I wouldn't have minded a straight up reboot. You know?
Especially with this animation, it kind of just makes up for you. Like, oh, it's a shame that it's nothing new, but this animation.
Yeah, you know? And even then, you could, like, if this was a straight up reboot, you could easily have wafted continuity aside and just been like, this is one of the other loops that Rika experiences in her 100 years of traveling, you know?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, actually, because this is something that really got me, he says, slapping the table. So, at the beginning of episode 2, they just drop all pretenses of this being a reboot. They bring in Hanyu, and they very clearly talk about the events of the original loops and all this other stuff, and Rika being over 100 years old. I'm legitimately surprised that Rika didn't freak out more. When realizing that she's back in what is essentially hell for her, she was surprisingly calm about it.
It's a problem with, like, when does that scene take place?
See, like, because the dialogue between her and Hanyu in that scene seems to indicate that this is the first of the new loops.
Yeah, definitely. But the reaction says otherwise, doesn't it?
Did you ever see Happy Death Day?
Yes.
Did you ever see Happy Death Day 2?
Yes, because that was the best film of the year.
I still need to see it, but there is a scene, like let's summarize that film real quick. Someone's stuck in a loop. At the end of the first one, she gets out of it. In the second film, she ends up back in that loop. And I've seen the clip where she basically runs around the campus being like, fuck! And you know what? I would have loved to have seen Rika do the exact same thing. Like, she wakes up back in 1983, she sees the date, and she just goes, nope, 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 and just starts, like, losing her fucking shit.
Like spoiling a bit later on, we do see her die for the new loop. Like, she doesn't remember it, but like, we've seen her where she's got everything she ever wanted, really. She got her dream come true. She has escaped Hero's Hour. She has everything she's ever wanted.
Yep.
And it's now all escaped from her hands.
It's yeah. Again, they wanted to make cake and eat it too. They wanted to retell the original story, but they didn't want to change it too much.
No.
The only thing they wanted to change was the final episode, which I did actually quite like, actually, where Renna just like I'll give it this. The changes that they do make are interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like I preferred it that Oishi told Keiichi about the curse killing stuff. I liked that Rika did try to comfort Keiichi and be like, no, hey, Renna isn't actually trying to kill you or whatever. And then when we actually get to this, like the famous door scene, he lets her in, and it turns out, oh god, she is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And even then, that whole thing is just a great scene, you know.
Like it was. Be honest, that scene is actually very annoying at the same time, though, because we've just spent 3 episodes. Yeah, let me explain this. So we've just spent 3 episodes, a little bit of changes here and there, but it's mainly the same stuff.
Yeah,
and then we get this whole new ending to the episode. It changes everything we thought about this series on its head, and then the next episode we're back to same old, basically. And this pattern happens for the next 3 arcs. You get really excited at the end, thinking, "Oh, something different's happening, something's changing," and then you force back, kind of like in a loop, to the boring same old, and then you get to the last episode again, exciting, back down. And honestly, it really soured me on this season, because I kept getting excited and getting disappointed. So maybe it's trying to make us feel like Rika, but we are a viewing audience. We have this attachment from it. And if I feel like you're wasting my time, why should I spend my time watching your show? It never kept my attention long enough. I can't say that for the previous, the first season, because even though obviously it was kept changing, those changes were exciting, they were new.
Yeah,
I think what if this show could have done, instead of remaking the first 3 arcs, maybe just remake the first arc, the next 2 arcs, do something different.
Yeah. Do we have anything else to say about that first arc?
Not really. I think to be honest, these first 3 arcs is going to be kind of like the same points over and over again, isn't it?
Yeah, I've like what I've got more in my notes are more just like snarky comments and things.
Pretty much,
I guess.
Like, if we're looking at arc 2,
Cotton-deceiving. Oh, that was the first one was Demon-deceiving, by the way. This is Cotton-deceiving, which I actually quite like the naming of each of the arcs this series. We're on to Cotton-deceiving now. Can I actually start because I was really happy with this.
Okay.
So in the retrospective, I've made sort of like a regular joke that the headmaster of the school is a fan of Super Sentai, which is the series that Power Rangers is adapted from. I remember when I first started the joke, I looked up who the Sentai team of 1983 was, just to make the joke feel a bit more authentic and time relevant. And I believe, if memory serves me well, the team at the time is Bioman. So imagine my surprise when there are numerous posters and even television appearances of the Bioman series in Higurashi.
I think this is just proven that they watch your retrospective.
Are they? Are they watching my stuff?
Are they listening to us right now?
Do, 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 do. Yeah. All right. Okay. So Angel Mort.
Yes.
The cafe scene.
I'm just going to say a couple of my notes here.
Yes.
Why Japan? What if it feels awful? Please make it stop.
Yeah, it is weird that school children can essentially go work for Japan's version of Hooters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's nice seeing Keiichi's dad, but I wish he wasn't here.
Yeah. At least it isn't Keiichi this time.
Yeah, that's very true.
Which makes it better. Actually, I'll tell you what. I got a great comment on the Cotton Drifting retrospective, which the person who commented actually deleted. I didn't delete it. They deleted it themselves, and I'm really sad that they did because it's a great comment. They said, "Look, I agree that Keiichi harassing Shion is terrible, but what's even worse is the fact that this guy picks his nose in public." And I wish they didn't delete the comment because I would have loved it. I would have pinned it to the top of the comment section. It was great.
Just for the record, this is my the original version of this arc is my favorite arc of the first season.
Oh, really?
And yeah, because anything with like twins or clones, love it. Something I really love about this is just the interactions between Kaiichi, Mion, and Shion. I thought they really got that really well nailed. Like the dialogue was really good, the acting. This was still when I was listening to the dub. I thought the actors really played off well.
Like I don't know about you, but I found it harder to tell who was being who.
Yeah, definitely.
This time around, like you said, in Cotton-drifting, it's a little bit more apparent if it's Mion in a scene or if it's Shion in a scene. To me, at least, this time round, it's a little harder to tell, and that might be a good thing.
Yeah, something I really love is when I think either Shion, it was Mion being Shion when she delivers some food to Kaiichi.
Yeah,
like the reflection in the mirror on the side. It's just like, oh, that's just a lovely little touch there.
Also, something that's worth pointing out: the Oyashiro statue, which is the same one that Satoko breaks the hand off of when she's a child. This one has both of its hands. So I wonder if that's going to come back in some way.
Maybe. I definitely found like with episode 3 and 4 of this arc, because I think they finally realised, well, we already know all this stuff, let's just get to the interesting stuff. So especially the last 2 episodes, the pacing just really quickened up, and it did feel a lot more fresh compared to the first arc in this season.
The ladder scene, which I famously have a problem with, is better, but there is still a smidge of animation jank in my opinion, and it's kind of unavoidable. Just going by what I'm like, just. I'm not entirely sure how they're animating this. I would assume they're doing it on a computer. They're doing it digitally. There's still a bit of jank there where it looks like someone's taken the layer that Keiichi's on, they've clicked on it, and they're just squiggling it about the screen. I don't know. I think I really don't know how to feel about the ladder scene. It is just a very awkward set piece.
It really is. And I don't think it works as well in daylight, strangely.
Yeah, I'm inclined to believe. Yeah,
it felt a bit too more open.
Yeah, a bit too happy shiny. Sure, they add the filter of the they added the grain of like, oh hey, it's darkness time. Here's a spooky bit, but it still felt too bright.
Yeah.
My next note: Rika drowns in shit. So, maybe it's a good thing she doesn't remember how she dies, because good fucking god. Like, knowing the bad guy, and like, we're still not going to announce the bad guy quite yet. We'll leave that until it's actually revealed. But knowing who the bad guy of this new situation is, the imagery of that person shoving Rika's head down a toilet is fucking hilarious. I play a lot of Hitman, and that's one of the ways to eliminate a target, like shoving them headfirst into a toilet and drowning them. So I'm kind of just imagining that person doing that to Rika, and it's the funniest shit in my mind.
So you're talking about bad guys.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if it started in this arc or the next one. I was starting to suspect Oishi. He was looking very evil.
I never suspected Oishi because he's too like. No, I didn't suspect Oishi. I'll tell you who I did suspect. I suspected the person it turned out to be.
Yeah.
The only other thing I've got really to say here is that with Sadako being found dead next to Mion, question mark, because obviously we're not sure if this is Mion or not. I hope we do get like an answer arc to this in the new season, because it's a bit too open-ended.
That was something I was going to add as well. Now you say it, it's like, because it's one of those things I would like to know what happened, but in another way, it's like, but does it really matter?
Yeah. I suppose in the grand scheme of things, again, since we know who the bad guy is and their intentions, does it matter how it happened now that it's just happened? I suppose it is just more just because of how weird of a situation it was as well.
Yeah.
Neon locking Keiichi in a cage, pulling out a fucking gun, and then boom, she's dead with Satoko for some reason.
And that's the thing. I don't think we're going to get an answer to it because it's really, does it really matter? We've got to where we wanted to get to now. I might be wrong about this. We'll have to wait till next time. But yeah.
Anything else to say on this one?
No, pretty much. That's all I've got to say, really.
Cool. Curse-deceiving. So I should point this out immediately. In the subtitle version, they for some reason, like whoever subtitled it, it was their choice. There was apparently a whole big thing about it on Twitter. They changed Nini to Big Bruder.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's that's something that caused a lot of people to go, "Ah, why?" I want to point out that in the dub, they still refer to him as Nini. The Nini survives.
So, Michael, what you're saying is the dub is better. That's what you're saying. We finally have a definitive answer here.
No, why would you think I would say that?
People get their pitchforks ready.
Keiichi and Sadako hanging out like siblings is genuinely sweet.
Honestly,
it's a genuinely sweet thing.
I loved it. It's like, I think once again, you saying about this feeling more like Anta or Keiichi, it was just really lovely to see.
He's an actual nice guy.
It felt more like he has a constant character compared to the original season, where he kind of changed whatever arc they needed him for.
Shall we talk about Dr. Problematic then?
Oh, let me get my notes here.
So, look, Irei, like, I know Irei is joking when he's like, oh, hey, I didn't know you also like Sadako, whatever. But the wording that they use, potential suitor, still sounds very susp. It sounds very susp to me. And the whole call me papa is very susp as well. Just like, oh, don't be a creep. I know you're a good man. Considering where the series goes.
Yeah.
It's very odd that it's very odd that Sadako finds herself in the situation that she finds herself in.
What I'll say is, like, why are we doing this arc, knowing what we know later? I think that's the best way we can put it for now.
Upon the rewatch, this arc holds up the least well, in my opinion. In all honesty, just again, because of what we discover about characters later, I don't understand why she would allow herself to end up back in this situation, given stuff that happens.
Yeah.
I have a newfound appreciation for Chie. I actually really like Chie. I like her design. I like her character. I think I like her. Maybe it's because I'm older.
No comment.
No comment. I'll tell you what. So, like, someone pointed this out, and I was like, "Oh God, they're right." If you swap Rena and Chie's hair color, they have the exact same face.
That explains so much.
Does it?
You're liking her.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll give you that. My next note. I genuinely hate Satoko sometimes.
Oh, you can't say for this arc. You can say it next time. You can't say for this arc.
No, I think what it is, it's just that, like, it is her personality sometimes. It's just, I get that she's trying to prove herself to not only to everyone else but to herself as well, that she doesn't need to rely on anyone like she used to do with Satoshi when her uncle was beating her. But sometimes she just gets right on my wick, you know?
this is really annoying, especially because of what we know later.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of those situations being that character in that situation, ignoring what we know later. It's very hard to judge a character on their reactions in that situation.
Yeah.
I can understand where you're coming from, but it's one of those things about a bit of leniency, isn't it? But knowing what we know later, we could probably throw this all out.
I'll tell you what, as well, actually, knowing what we know later, this is a legit line of dialogue that Sadako says, like the last time that she's at the school. Like Rika's gone up to her, and she's like, Sadako, just come home with me. Leave your uncle. We can go. Just come back to the house and live with me. Sadako, I shit you not, says this. It doesn't matter what I want. Bearing in mind what we know happens later in this arc, well, in this series, it doesn't matter what I want.
Yeah. This goes back to what we were saying earlier. You think about it for one moment, and it all falls down.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you what, episodes 11, 12, and 13 were probably the most boring episodes.
Yeah.
It's like those are completely filled with the okay, we're gonna go talk to these people. They've said no, let's go back, bring more people, let's talk to them again. Okay, we need more people. I don't remember it being this just isn't you know?
What you can tell with these last 3 arcs is how frustrated we're getting with it.
Yeah.
Like, and as a viewing audience, I'll be honest, I would have switched off by now.
Yeah.
Like, I can see what we're going for, trying to mirror the previous first and second season.
Yeah.
But it's just not working the same. So, as I previously said, I jokingly thought Oishi was a villain. End of this arc, I knew it! I cracked the case!
Hooray! You predicted one thing. Looks at my tally sheet. Oh, look at all the things I predicted. The ending is a very weird one, again, considering how things eventually turn out.
Yeah. Like, knowing what we know, would it make more sense?
I really want to know. I really want to know what Satoko was going to... Like, I got very uneasy when Satoko was like, Keiichi, I want to take you away from the group. I want to talk to you. Let's go back to my house now. I was getting, is this going into very not suitable territory? And it went, and honestly, I was kind of relieved when Teppei came out and just bashed his frigging brains in, you know, because it was like, oh, thank God, whatever the bloody hell was going to happen, it wasn't what I thought it was.
I'm just going to repeat that sentence for everyone. I was so thankful when a child got his head bashed in. By his words that Michael Crewe has just said.
So one thing I really do want to point out, not only for this arc but for the first 3 arcs, the final scenes are exactly the same. Keiichi wakes up from a coma after being rather badly injured, just so that someone can come in and tell them what happened to everyone else. Someone just has to come in and be like, so everyone died?
It was very sad.
It wasn't even sad at that point. Like when we get to the end of this, where Rena comes in and is like, look, everyone died, and I'm like, again? This is the 3rd time in a row. This is the exact same ending. I was getting very aggravated by it. And I kid you not, this is the final words from at least the dub version. Rena screams to the heavens, none of this makes sense. And I'm like, girl, I feel ya.
Yes, Queen.
Ding on the Rena counter. Rena speaks the truth. I think it's safe to say that everyone can kind of agree. I mean, we've said it enough times already. These first 3 arcs were not the best way to start the series.
No.
Not at all.
Once again, animation, lighting, colouring, fantastic.
Yeah.
Character depiction, brilliant. But the actual story,
Yeah.
it's lacking.
It's all superficial. It's all
Yes.
superficial surface level stuff.
I think that's the perfect way to sum it.
Which is why, as we get into the Cat-deceiving arc, probably one of my favourite arcs in the entirety of Higurashi, top 3 is what I'm saying.
Ooh.
Yeah. We finally get some some fully original stuff. Episodes 14 and 15, I watched them back to back just by accident. Because I'd missed a week and I was like, oh shit, I missed a week. Oh, well, save it for next week. It was the best decision I ever made because I just so happened to pick 2 fucking great episodes to watch back to back.
Good choice. Good choice.
But by pure coincidence. The opening, like you said, with Oishi going around, going on a murder spree, fucking amazing. Fucking incredible. Literally, oh my god, like, it's weird to say, but I loved Mion just jumping into action.
It's just so in character for her.
Yeah. And then she gets shot in the head. And it's like, oh. I actually have very little notes for this episode because I'm not even kidding when I say I was completely enraptured just by the whole thing.
I think that sometimes happens when the episode captures you. You don't want to make notes about it because you're too busy watching the episode.
Yeah.
I think the only note I have is, would it be funny if you just tripped over and fell on the knife?
Wow.
That's my note for this episode.
Wow. Bloody hell. I mean, okay, so I want to talk about Hanyu, actually.
Yes.
So the Hanyu that's been present in the series so far, at the beginning of episode 2 and here, where she disappears, it's said that she's some sort of, like, conscious remnant of normal Hanyu, not actually Hanyu herself, sort of. Like, by reading between the lines, as well as Rika's reaction and stuff that's said later in the series, I legitimately wonder if Hanyu, in her human form, has died.
That's what I give thought to, actually.
Like explaining why Hanyu isn't present in the future arc.
Yeah.
In future arcs, like why she isn't present from 1983 onward. I don't know how she died, obviously, but just certain words and certain lines, Rika's reactions to certain things, that's the impression I'm getting. So I wouldn't be surprised if,
yeah,
that's something that happens that's properly revealed next season.
Maybe, yeah. Because I've always meant to ask you about that, if I'm being honest. Because I've only watched season 4, or maybe they explain in season 4. Where does she go?
So Hanyu is present in season 4. Like, the final episode of season 4 is very heavy on Hanyu's involvement. It's basically a Hanyu episode.
Is she still in her human form, or she's back to spirit?
Yes. Human form. Like, from what I can tell, she can hop between 2 at will.
Ah, I see. Okay.
Because there's that episode in season 3 with the Magnetana, and I'm pretty sure there are some times when Hanyu is in spirit form in that episode. From what I understand, during either the Massacre arc or the Festival Accompanying arc, it's stated that Hanyu is running out of power, running out of her godly power, which is why the loops were getting shorter. Why, when she took human form, she was unable to, like, she didn't have as much power as she did before. Why she couldn't stop the bullet that Takano was going to shoot her with. Again, spoilers for people who are watching the retrospective and and haven't left.
I mean, if you got up to this point,
what are you doing? It's your own fault.
Yeah.
Maybe she just lost the will to live, and I realize that that's like a dumb Star Wars thing.
oh, they just gave up.
Well, no, not that they gave up, but just like she just died of natural causes. I mean, to be fair, her physical body was like originally around like friggin' generations ago. So this new body, God knows how that even works. Well, she is a god, conditional clause, in all respects.
And it is mentioned later that basically the thing she came from is slightly broken, isn't it?
Her horn's broken, which is why her powers are a bit funny.
Yeah, but that's what Rika touched, isn't it? From what the other one said.
We'll get to her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because I always thought Hanyu was just there from when Rika was born.
Yeah, but apparently not.
Maybe, who knows? I mean, like, well, to be fair, that whole thing about touching the horn thing is a whole other kettle of fish that we'll get to. But yeah, I do wonder if Hanyu's dead in the real world. Conditional clause. Yeah, I've got very little to say about episode 14, honestly, because I was just totally on board with it. Episode 15, I love the bait and switch with Akasaka.
You
know, like a character who's basically Rika's rock, her confidant almost. Like, you can always rely on Akasaka. The bait and switch of him turning on her hit me so fucking hard. And just like the cold cut between them being all nice and happy to then Rika being bloody on the floor was so good. The direction in this episode is phenomenal, in all honesty. As much as I said I wanted like new sort of like new twists and to see other versions of loops, this episode basically gave me what I wanted by having at least 4 or maybe even 5 admittedly new loops that didn't exist beforehand, but still new stuff happening within the world with different characters and things. And I lived for that. I loved that shit so much.
Once again, I loved it, and it annoyed me at the same time. So I loved it because it was so cool and interesting, but it annoyed me because, like, why didn't we have this for the last 3 arcs? It would have been amazing.
It literally would have. You could have filled a full series with just that montage, you know?
Yeah.
I want to see what happened to fucking Akasaka. I need to know that full story.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was so annoying because part of your brain was like, it's so cool, but why is it longer? I want more of
it. So I've got a note here.
Okay.
Rika sitting bloodied in Angel Mort with Keiichi just holding shit in the background is the biggest case of the Mondays I have ever seen in my life.
It was a mood. Like, this is part I do kind of love, just like Rika just being fed up of all this death. She's like, oh, for goodness sake. Yeah. 100 years of this. I'm getting too old for this.
This is exactly the kind of reaction she should have had in episode 1, episode 2, you know? She should be done with this. She's tired, you know? At this point, she's... Okay, well, technically she's 110 in the original series, so she's been 5 years, so 15. Yeah, so she's like 115 years old at this point, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is my life. I'm still stuck as a friggin' child. Like, my friends are all crazy. I didn't get dessert. What is this life?
Moving just on the next episode where she wakes up and Psycho is...
Oh my god. Oh my god. What we were talking about when it was like the color and just like the use of it in this series. The beginning of episode 16 is case in point. Beautifully shot, beautifully colored. I adored it.
It's like for the last 2 episodes, just ramping up that tension, the drama, the sense of fear Rika is getting that she won't get past these 5 loops. It's just like, and the animation, the performances, all just helping to build this up. It's like really, really good stuff.
I want to point out as well, actually. So obviously, Sadako goes about doing the doing the cotton drifting ritual on Rika. It is stated either earlier in this series or even or more. Or I mean, I remember it from friggin' series 1. It's stated that if performed correctly, you can keep the victim alive while you're performing the like the thing, and Sadako does it. She keeps Rika alive during the whole thing, so kudos to her. But I will come back to this with a funny anecdote.
Okay, I think something I just want to add before we move on.
Yeah,
something we find out we're nearly there, guys. But
we're nearly there.
Like something we find out later. I do love that character aspect of Psycho about traps, because looking back on it, it's now like, I can see what she was working up to there. And it was quite clever.
Like, legitimately, this while this sequence is extremely gory, and that's something we haven't really talked about. Like Go is ramped up the gore tenfold, for better or worse. While this scene is gory, it is a great scene, and it's better with context.
Definitely.
On there are so many nuances and stuff in it. So you won't know this because you haven't seen Series 4 yet, but in the final episode, Hanyu wears a sun hat, like a really nice sun hat, and it's actually the same one that Rika wears when they're down by the river. And I kid you not, my heart nearly exploded.
Oh, that's just sweet.
It is! It's a neat little thing! It's great, and I love it! Yeah, we're basically at the end of that arc, so I think we can finally say it and go all out.
She was the killer.
No. I am legitimately curious how long Rika was suspicious of Satoko. Because I was suspicious from like the second arc, honestly. That she was either, well, maybe not a looper, but at least in on it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's a great reveal, it's a great cliffhanger, it's a great arc. Again, made better with the foreknowledge of the Satoko twist.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a great way to bring back the the box that punches Sadako in the face, because that was, like I mentioned, one of my favorite scenes that I could play on loop.
Fantastic setup and payoff. Like,
honestly, yeah.
Chekhov's
really
gun.
Well done.
Really well done.
Satoko's gun. Thank you very much. Question: where was she hiding it?
Oh, look over there.
Cut to John Barrowman. You really don't want to know. Like, where the hell? What the? I mean, she doesn't even have pockets.
Obviously, it's a trap.
Okay.
Trap pockets. God, Michael.
Oh my god, I need someone to draw Satoko as Admiral Akbar. Just saying, it's a trap! I love that so much. But yeah, honestly, great cliffhanger. Absolutely wonderful. And on to the final arc, Village Destroying, where we get the irregular entropy ending. I do have to say, I really like that the Japanese words for Village Destroying is Satoko Washi Hen or something like that. It's literally her name is in it. It's great.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's so clever.
These next 2 episodes, these have become 2 of my favorite episodes in the entire series of Higurashi. Like,
oh wow,
it's just everything from, especially the direction. Like, I don't have the director at hand at the moment, but whoever it is, bravo. Everything from the animation, the voice acting, the script is just perfect. Literally, my notes, I don't have many of them because I was just, once again, I was sucked in.
Yeah.
I was just I just love it. Oh my god, just Satoko giving everything she can to help Rika achieve her dream, and then Rika not doing it viciously, but as many people do when you get older, you move apart. You have different interests. Neither of them are the bad guy, but solely just twists in Satoko's head more and more. Oh,
I have a fair amount of notes actually.
fair enough.
like not in a bad way. Literally just things that I wanted to.
Yeah, you go, just reel them off, man.
So the majority of this arc takes place in the future of Hinamizawa, with the gang growing up and just being happy, and it is
The
legitimately.
designs.
Oh, the designs are great, but I just loved seeing these guys grow up. I liked seeing their happily ever after, you know?
Yeah.
Honestly, just give me a full series of that. I don't want another tragedy to happen. Just give me them growing old and being happy and shit. I mean, Mion's gone on to college now. She started her own one. Keiichi and Rena are both the leaders of the Hinamizawa club now. Like, I can understand Rika and Satoko's whole thing of being, oh, hey, it's not the same as it was before. But like you said up top, that's life.
Yeah.
Things change.
And that plays off later on. Like, because even Rika changes, but Satoko, she can't quite move on yet.
Yeah. It's stated that Satoko's Hinamizawa syndrome has been cured.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if she relapses.
Possibly.
Over the course of not only the 5 years that we see, but what's coming later. And I do wonder if that plays into a lot of her mentality going through. I mean, like, well, we'll cover that when we get there.
Because that's actually an interesting question. Because think about it, if you go into a new time loop, and say this time loop starts before she gets a shot, what happens then?
Well, I'm pretty sure all the loops are before the all the loops. Actually, that's just it. Like the point in time that she loops back to is always before she started getting better.
Makes you think.
I understand both Rika and Satoko's positions on going to St. Lucia's. I can completely understand Rika wanting to move on and go somewhere to become not necessarily a better person, but just to grow, you know?
Experience new things.
Yeah, again, she's been in hell for 100 years. So, of course, she was always going to take the opportunity to go somewhere else and just be somewhere else.
So I'm going to point out what you just said there. You can see it from both characters' point of view, and that is fantastic character writing. Neither of them at the beginning are the bad guy. They both have a different point of view, both different life experiences, and it puts them in their directions. And sadly, that is them separating.
I've never really had a chance to state this, but I did long suspect that Sadako and Rika were either in a gay relationship or were one day going to be in one. And this arc and the previous one did very much sort of like cement that idea, which, as you said, makes them separating just that little bit more tragic. I should point this out because people will shout at me if I don't. The school that Rika and Satoko end up going to, St. Lucia, is the same school that Shion went to. But it's also a school that a character from Umineko went to.
Oh. What's that?
Don't worry, we'll explain more in a moment, but if I don't mention it now, people will get angry. But yeah, about Shion. Where the hell is she, and why didn't she tell Satoko, girl, don't go there?
You won't like it.
You won't like it.
Like, this is probably one of the few marks I have against this last part of the season. Like,
yeah.
Obviously, Shion thinks Satoko as a little sister.
Yeah.
If Satoko and Shion was both there, Shion would take care of Satoko, lessening the blow that Rika has.
surely they're still in contact with each other, you know?
Yeah.
Surely, as soon as they go, even if someone like Mion offhandedly says, "Oh yeah, by the way, Sadako and Rika have gone to Saint Lucia," I would imagine Shion just staring at her, wide-eyed for a second, dropping whatever she's holding, and just friggin' just steamrolling it towards Saint Lucia, kicking down the doors, grabbing Sadako out of the class, being like, "Stay away from my baby!" and then running away with Satoko, because good freaking God, when they go to find out if they've got into the school, I actually thought they were going to pull a Bart gets an F and have it that Satoko fails, even though she worked so hard to get in. I was legitimately surprised that they allowed her in. Well, not allowed her in. She obviously earned her place through studying, but I'm surprised that happened. Next note, St. Lucia is the most English-Japanese school I've ever seen in my life. Literally a word, like a sentence that is said, "Join us in a rousing debate."
And I will just say, I know this is a bit further on, but anyone who's not from the UK, all our schools do have a prison underground. Just a fact. An English fact.
When Sadako starts to slip in her studies, Rika offers to help her with the studies. But Satoko, being the bratty little person that she is, can't admit that she needs help. Which is completely within her character, since she's always trying to prove that she doesn't need to rely on anyone like she did with Satoshi. But it is still absolutely aggravating.
And to be honest, it's kind of meant to as well.
Oh yeah, it's meant to, but it is so aggravating. And I love it, but it's so aggravating.
Going back to the animation of this section where you can see when she's now going to is it like the special lessons? The special school?
The study hall. Oh my God, that is haunting.
The colours it's like it's washing away everything.
Okay, right. So here's a very interesting thing about the study hall that I literally read about an hour or two ago. So when the girls first start gathering around Rika to induct her into their little group, there's about there's at least 8 of them, whatever. Later, it comes down to just Rika and the 3 other people that she's with. Do you want to know where those other 4 girls end up?
I dread to ask, but go on. Oh, they're not in the study hall, are they?
They are in the study hall, apparently.
Oh, that is brilliant. That's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Oh. I'll have to double check myself, but apparently they're in there.
Seriously, this last arc.
Oh, so good. Even after their argument, like they have a confrontation in, I think at the beginning of the next episode. Rika and Sadako have an argument in the main hall. Even after their argument, Rika still respects Satoko. She still shows clear respect for her.
Yeah.
You know? Which is something that Satoko doesn't share. Just saying.
No.
Also, St. Lucia has a prison.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Just checking Japan. Is this a thing?
Is this a thing, Japan? Do you guys just have prisons in your schools? Is this where prison school came from?
I mean, as we in the UK, we do have them, but I thought that was just an us thing.
So here's a very again, another funny line of dialogue. When Sadako is in the prison, one of the things she says is, "Let me do it over. Let me do it over again," to have a second chance. When she gets the opportunity to loop, she does the exact same thing to end up right back where she was.
Yeah. Because she still cares about Rika.
No, there's a lot of assumptions that have to be made when we get to that first loop, which we will get to. Intentional or not, when Rika and Satoko head back to Hinamizawa, it is actually genuinely nice to see the place again.
Yeah, and I love how
we've been away for 2 episodes, but it's still nice to see the place.
And the older versions and how Rika just turns more back to her old self. Giving Sayako that little bit of a last hope she has.
Why is Keiichi dressed like a golfer?
Yeah.
There are a lot of golf clubs around his house when I think about it. He does have easy access to golf clubs.
It all makes sense.
Oh my god, he was destined to become a golfer.
No! So here we go. We have Sadako walking around the village, walking past these happy memories she has of her time with Rika, slowly climbing up to the shrine. The tension. You're wondering, where is this going? Honestly, I didn't see this coming.
Do you even know who it is?
I don't know, but I think it's cool. Is it grown-up Rika?
No.
Aww.
I can tell. I'll tell you who she is. Again, I'm not an expert, particularly on this half of the fandom. Well, I say this half of the fandom. It's technically a different fandom. Her name is Feverine.
Okay.
She is a character from Umineko. The kind of sort of spin-off connective thingy to Higurashi. And that's all I know.
Once again, quality content.
Quality content. Look, I don't care about Umineko. I'll probably check it out at some point, but for right now, I don't care about it. I get the feeling that this reveal of Feverine was meant to be a sort of on a similar level. Spoilers for WandaVision. Meant to be on a similar level to Quicksilver turning up and it being Evan Peters. You know?
Yeah. I think something I would like to add there, because I can't even say the name of the show you just said.
Umineko.
I've never heard of it. That thing, yeah. But that did not subtract my enjoyment of this scene.
That's good. I was actually going to ask that, because it didn't subtract it for me, but what it did is it just made me think more along the lines of, oh, well, crossover episode, I guess.
Right, I see.
I don't look. I completely understand if people are confused as to what I actually feel about this, because I'll be honest, even I'm not 100% sure at the minute. I don't hate this, but I'm not exactly going, oh hell yeah, Umineko connection, you know. Although that's got more just to do with the fact that we live in an era of crossovers, and now Higurashi's just doing it.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, Feverine comes in. She gives Sadako the ability to loop, much like Rika does.
But with her memories intact.
Yeah, completely intact, rather than Rika, who kept forgetting how she died. Whoops. Silly Hanyu.
Hanyu! Basically, the notes I have of this, especially like this, I think mainly for this arc here, where they go through again, learning, revising to get back to St. Luca's school. Be honest, I really liked the fact she did give it another go and thought, oh, it might be different this time. Kind of like if you're in a bad relationship, maybe they'll change this time. But they didn't. Yeah. The one thing I just really didn't like is that we didn't see this at the school. We were only told this. And the problem with telling us is that characters never say what they really think.
Yeah, we have to assume, because we're not shown, we have to assume that the events played out more or less the same as they did the first time around. Meaning Satoko, again, didn't accept Rika's offer to help her study. To me, Rika was making a very evident effort to help her friend, you know? But Satoko, you know, she's just too big-headed to admit that she needs help. And hell, like it's actually said, Sadako says something along the lines of, if you helped me, then that would put you above me. And Rika makes the very obvious point that I never put you below me. You put yourself below me. I'm not doing this. This is your perception, you know?
Like, another problem with us not showing it, that scene where Sadako gives Rika permission to first hang out with those other girls. Did she do that again? Why did she do that again? If she knew that was what started Rika going away from her.
If I remember correctly, she asked Sadako if she wanted to come along as well, and Sadako was like, nah.
Well, then why didn't this time she did come along with her? Those are the questions that bring up if you don't show us. Because then we are now, be honest, what we're doing now is projecting, yes, giving the information we have on these characters beforehand, but we can't say for certain. But I did love the ending where she does just drop the candelabra on her.
Drop the chandelier on them.
Yeah. If you gotta go, that is one way of going.
I'm going to assume it's Satoko who said this, but I've made a note that says you always have to be stubborn. I feel like that's Satoko saying that to Rika.
Yes,
and I've just put beside it, hi pot, name's Kettle, you're black. Satoko spends 100 years rewatching Higurashi. Damn, girl.
Something I did love is how she uses a time loop. It goes all the way back to her character about setting traps. She uses the knowledge of each time to change how she goes next time. It's like, I think you compare, like you said earlier about Happy Death Day 2. That is something that happened in the movie. They use the deaths to her advantage, and that's brilliant. That's good storytelling.
I do actually have the line written down that she says. She says, like the difference between her, like the way Rika looped and how she's looping. Rika relies on charm and luck to merely hope the dice roll in her favor. I take action to ensure that the winning result is rolled for certain. And below that, I've got the difference between how you and I play Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm Rika and you're Satoko.
I'm going to take that. Because, like, something I'm going to add to what you just said there about the dice rolling. We then go to the game shop, where she's playing that card game, and she ensures she wins.
Okay, so another thing I want to talk about. It's like her looping ability. Feverine does mention that her powers are greater than Hanyu's because her horn is full or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
she's very horny or something like that. Thereby seemingly giving Satoko the ability to snap her fingers and sort of like loop, like not even loop back, but hop back a couple of seconds to make a different choice or decision. However, that's not overtly stated. It is shown to us, but it's not completely stated. I wonder, and I think this would be fucking hilarious, I wonder if every time she snaps, she actually reverts back to just some random point in the past, where she then has to relive everything to get back to the point she wants to get to. So let me take you back to episode 16, where she's performing the cotton drifting on Rika, right? How many times did she snap in order to perform the ritual properly? She goes on a whole speech about all these different things. How many times did she have to reiterate that speech because Rika kept dying early?
Maybe imagine if she just like flubbed one of her lines.
All these times she just keeps flicking back and forth. But then, if you take into account, what if she loops back to like a week in the past, which she then has to relive in order to get to the exact same point to do it again? In like the final episode, there's a bit where she's trying to crack a code on like a safe or a box or something, and she keeps snapping back to put in a new code. What if she keeps looping back like a month? Where she then has to relive the month, get back to the suitcase, put the code in, it's the same, like, wrong one again, loops back, has to live a whole other month, and she's just doing this over and over again. That would be fucking hilarious.
So I kind of had a similar thought, but instead I thought every time, so in the card game, when she didn't get it, she just picked up a knife, stabbed herself in the neck. So every time she just keeps stabbing herself in the neck to die, to just come back.
That's the thing. So at some point, Sadako says, it doesn't matter what happens in these worlds, the final world is the one that matters. So I'm more than fine killing I'm fine with killing and torturing all of these people because it's not going to be the real world in the end. I have 2 points. The first point is Well, for starters, we know that isn't true. We know that these worlds continue after the looper exits.
Yeah.
So, my other point, you're willingly admitting that you want to break your best friend and potential love interest's will just to be with them.
To make her happy, because Psycho knows what's best for her.
No, she doesn't.
No, that's the point, though. That's what she's thinking.
Here's the thing: Sadako has terrible abandonment issues, and it is all playing into her character. But I'm sorry, you're willing to kill people in different timelines in a multiverse just to get what you want. I don't like you anymore.
No, I'll agree with that. Like, she is going to villain. I don't know if they'll be able to give a redemption. I doubt it at this point.
I think there will be a redemption, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I think they will try, but if you can achieve it, that's the question. But
yeah.
I think it's one of those things. If you tell a child that anything you do have no can't say the word.
Consequences.
That's the word. Like, what will they do? In her mind, it doesn't matter what I do in these worlds, because it'll get me to the point where nothing of this will have happened.
It's how she's rationalizing what she's doing.
Exactly.
And again, like I said before, maybe this is a relapse of Hinamizawa syndrome.
Quite possibly.
Obviously not to the full extent of level 5 where she's ripping out her own neck.
No.
But let's be honest, let's be completely honest. People say that Shion is a yandere for what she did in Eye Opening and Cotton Drifting. Satoko's eclipsed her.
Yeah.
I'm not an expert in the yandere genre, I guess, or the yandere archetype, but even I can tell bitch be crazy.
Quite clearly, this final bit of the arc, the second and the third part of this whole season, has got us talking the most.
Yeah, definitely.
So even though we both clearly have enjoyed the first part, and it could have done.
The second half is superior, without a doubt.
It's really good. Really good.
A very important point here. It's stated that those who are closest to the looper are remember previous loops, right?
Yeah.
In the original loops, Satoko didn't remember anything.
Ooh.
But who in those original loops remember things from previous loops? Keiichi, Rena, Shion, and Akasaka.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
that just makes you. Oh, that just makes you think.
People like Akasaka makes sense because she looks up to him. She relies on him. Keiichi is sort of like the catalyst. Well, one of the catalysts to getting out of the original loop. But it's very interesting that that Rena and Shion, particularly Shion, who doesn't even spend that much time with the rest of the cast, is one of the people who remembers the other loops.
It's hard to say if that's planned or not, but
yeah,
either way, it is a good talking point.
But it's even more interesting when you consider who Satoko's current ones are. Teppei, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Takano, and one that isn't mentioned, but one that I am positive is going to be confirmed in the next season. I think Satoshi's going to remember the other loops.
Ooh.
But here's the thing. Satoshi's in a coma for all of the loops. Dude's going to be bored out of his fucking mind.
Oh, bit more wall, bit more ceiling. Yep, still same ceiling.
Oh, they changed my oxygen tank in this loop. That's nice.
Oh, they're repainting the walls. That's nice. Still white.
Oh man, E-Ray should not have tried going for a mohawk. That's a terrible idea.
Wait, what is he saying about my sister?
Oh God, no! But yeah, episode 23, the Teppei Redemption episode.
Complex feelings.
Yeah! Like, here's the thing. Good on him for trying to be a better person. But fuck you, dude.
Something I really do appreciate, because this is a very complex subject,
Yep.
is at the end,
Yep.
she doesn't forgive him. She
Yep.
is still a bit terrified. That
Of
does not
course.
go away. And I really appreciated that.
Very interesting line of dialogue with her saying she's going to use him to her advantage.
Yeah.
Now makes me wonder what on earth actually happened in the house during Curse-deceiving.
Yeah.
What if she what if she actually worked with Teppei, and her bringing Keiichi to the house was 100% planned for Teppei to then beat the shit out of him.
Yeah. I don't know how that helps her in a big master plan, but
yeah, her reactions, like to that whole scene, could be a thing that proves that it doesn't. I don't know.
So I think it'll all come down if we will have some answer arcs like in the original series.
I really hope we do.
Yeah.
You would hope so.
Yeah.
The series final. Not your typical series final.
No. I actually got a bit confused. I was like, is there another episode? And then I like scrolled down to the thing and it said episode 24 unwatched. Obviously that is the episode I just watched. I just don't think it updated. So I started watching the episode again and it was beginning at the same point. I was like, wait a second. I swear I just watched this.
Leading up to this episode, there was a lot of talk about whether there was going to be more episodes after 24. I then had it spoiled for me that the trailer for Higurashi Satsu had been released before I watched it, so I knew there was a 6th series, which meant me going into this episode, I was like, how is this going to end? And it didn't. It didn't end. This whole series, at its core, is setup. I really want to know if it was known from the beginning that they were going to get at least 2 series. Because I say at least, because God only knows at this point if there's going to be Series 7 at this point.
Because it's an interesting question, because obviously the original first 2 series, even though there was a bit of a finale in the end of season 1, it did lead straight into season 2.
So yeah, well that's the exact thing. That's the thing I wanted to bring up. The series final for Series 1, Atonement, to me, is a great series final. It feels like its own. It feels like an ending in its own right. It's clear that there is still more happening and going on, but to me, that felt like a nice ending. This doesn't feel like an ending. This feels like come back next time, which is all well and good, but this now doesn't feel like an ending. The series finale should have been the reveal of Satoko in Cat-deceiving.
Yeah.
That was a better ending.
The moment you said that, I could completely agree with you. I think if you restructured this season, took out the first 3 arcs, included something else, mixed some scenes around, that could have really worked.
Yeah.
Like, I would be more annoyed about this if I didn't just love the last 2 arcs.
Yeah. I completely agree. Like, the structuring of this is the problem.
See, it ended where the first 3 arcs did. I don't know if I would watch next season. If I was a casual fan, if I wasn't as invested as I am right now, if I was just a casual fan, I know for definite I wouldn't come back for next one.
Yeah.
So I think in many ways they got lucky because of how good it got near the end, but it's not a great something to set as your mission statement that you'll just come back for next season to end it.
Yeah.
End of the season, you do need, even though if it does continue, you do need a bit of finale of the story of that first season.
So I guess here we are at the end? Question mark? Because this doesn't feel like an ending.
No, but it's the ending we've got for now.
Yeah. I think, like again, great visuals, great music, great voice acting on both Japanese and English fronts. The first 3 episodes have interesting ideas. They're just not executed well, in my opinion. But when you get the Cat-deceiving arc and the village destroying arc, that's when this series really shines. When we actually get some new original stuff, when we continue the story properly without any pretense of, oh hey, this is just a remake. As soon as you get that rubbish out of the way, this series shines, and it does make me hopeful for Satsu. For what this isn't my favorite series, but it's good. I enjoyed my time with it. Yes.
I think the only thing I can add to this, with me not seeing season 4, but from what I have watched, I've always felt that ever since pretty much season 2, this show has had a identity problem.
Yeah.
It hasn't known where it want to be, and the second half of this season has fixed that problem. It has come with its own problems on the side, but I think a way of reinvigorating the show, it has done a really good job, and it is taking it in its own new, unique direction, which I am really happy to see. Directors, animators, colorists, honestly, fantastic job. I don't think I can follow you on any fault. It's probably one of the best looking animes I've seen. And I think just to mirror Michael, I am looking forward to the next season. I didn't know there's a trailer out already, so I'm going to do that after this. I'm hoping that they can take on the few comments of this season, things they can work on for next one, and we can have a really good ending.
I mean, I don't think they're not exactly going to have enough time to take on the comments, considering it's out in like June, July time.
Well, shit.
So for Go, I made a couple of predictions for it at the beginning of the time-wasting arc, some of which sort of came true. They were vague enough for people to be classed as true. But when you also consider the fact that I once said Funimation are going to get the dubbing rights, and they do, and they have made a dub, when you consider that I talked about Bioman, and then they've appeared in the show itself, when you consider that I said that Keiichi was a bit of a nonce when he was at Angel Mort, and now he's not a nonce, just saying. I want us to make some predictions for Satsu.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Like, given what we've had, where do you think Satsu is going to go? I think, first big question, are we going to get an ending?
I believe so, yes.
I would hope so too. Cut to 6 months later where there isn't an ending.
I believe this is going to copy the original Season 1 and Season 2. Set up and then ending in Season 2. So I'm going to say, yes, it will end.
Let's be specific with these ones. Let's actually try and throw a dart at the dartboard, so to speak. What do you think?
Okay, I'm going to go big with this one.
Okay.
I'm going to go big. Yep. I think Satoko is going to win.
Oh.
I think she is going to get everything she wants, but then realize how miserable Rika is. She then ends the loop herself.
Oh. I legitimately never thought of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, I think we're going to get, or at least I'm hoping we get, an equivalent to the Atonement arc. Going from the trailer, there is a lot more footage of Rena than there has been in arguably the rest of the series. One thing I noticed is that Rena didn't really get a moment past episode 4. I think Rena is going to have a big part to play in what's to come. I don't know how, but I think I think and hope she's going to have a story. One thing I want to put down, I think Satoshi is going to wake up.
Damn it, that was going to be my next one.
I think Satoshi's going to wake up. I think he's going to be the catalyst that will make Satoko realize what she's doing is wrong.
I think that's a good bet. I think that's a good bet.
I think that's a very good bet. I'm also going to say I don't think he's going to appear until at least the second to last episode.
Oh,
Now that's the biggest one. He's going to be the penultimate episode cliffhanger.
Okay, so it turns out there's a third deity, third god.
Oh.
And that god is Shion.
You had me and then you lost me, I'm afraid.
Damn it!
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I think my theory that Hanyu is dead would be a good one to put money on, I think. But I do think she's going to find a way to come back. They've got to... You can't... Like, killing off Hanyu would be a ballsy move. Bringing her back is viable, I think.
I think this is going to be very mean-spirited.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think this will happen, but I think it is an option. Saeko reneges on her deal, and the punishment she will suffer at the hands of Finesse?
Feverine
is her stuck in the worst loops of her life.
Ooh.
And it comes down to Rika and Hanyu comes down to Rika and Hanyu going through that loop to save her and forgive her. So yeah, I think I prefer my original one, but I think that's also an option.
I like your original one. That's very cool. I think going from your first one, I want to believe that like again, Satoshi will come and convince Satoko to break the loop by whatever means. I don't think either of them will win conditional clause. Everyone will have lost something by doing this. But I do think Rika and Satoko will end up going their separate ways. Whether that like potentially with like Rika staying on at St. Lucia, however you say it, and Satoko returning to Hinamizawa. Although if she does return there, I think she'll be more alone than she was beforehand, because of course Mion, Rena, and Keiichi are away at university.
I think I'll actually go differently. I think she'll actually be happier
being alone.
Not being alone, but being away from Rika. I think she's probably... Those two have depended on each other for so long. I think they actually do need time apart. But hey, we'll have to wait and find out. Ooh.
But now the real question that I will pose to both you, Bearded Kuriboh, and to the people still listening, much like Captain America Civil War, whose team are you on? Are you Team Rika, or are you Team Satoko? Who are you backing? So,
as you previously mentioned, we have different styles, different lives, different ideas how we should go around things.
Okay.
I think you should always have a plan. You should always have a trap. So I'm going with Satoko.
Seriously?
If you have a plan, you stick to the plan, you win.
After everything we've said, are you seriously backing Satoko on this?
Well, it's more because I know you're going to pick Rika, so I think it'll be funny if we go with different people.
Am I really that obvious?
Yes.
Okay, then yes, I was going to pick Rika. I feel sorry for her. She has put up with enough shit in her life. She doesn't need any more of this. Let her be who she wants to be. Rika did nothing wrong.
I don't disagree with you, but for comedy's sake...
For comedy's sake, you're saying Satoko, but in real life, you're Team Rika, aren't you?
Actually, I'm Team Shion, but that's a question for another day.
Oh wow! Okay then. So yes, do please leave a comment below saying who you're backing. Are you with me, Team Rika, which is subsequently Team Captain America, or are you Bearded Kuriboh team that has Satoko and Iron Man?
Just saying, we do have cookies. Think about it.
We have truth, justice, and the Nepal way.
I don't, mate, just end it there. You can't top that ending.
Thank you all very much for listening / watching. I hope this was entertaining. I hope this was halfway understandable.
I'm so sorry.
We're never getting the Kuriboh back. No, if people enjoyed this, then good. So yes, that is it for today. If you would like to check out more Higurashi stuff, I have the Higurashi Retrospective in a playlist that would be linked at the end of this video, or potentially you've already seen it, whatever. The 5th installment will be coming later this year. Hopefully, this Yu-Gi-Oh video is taking a lot longer than I would like it to. Say goodbye, Bearded Kuriboh.
Bye, Bearded Kuriboh.
And I'll say goodbye as well. Goodbye as well.
Comedy.
This fucking end. I hate it. Like, endings are literally the worst.
Yeah.